Hello, and welcome to Security Weekly News, episode 527 on November the 7th, 2025. This week we have AI-Obfuscating Malware, China Influence Ops, Meta's Fraud Fortune, Jason Wood, and more on Security Weekly News.
This is a Security Weekly production for security professionals by security professionals. Please visit securityweekly.com/subscribe to subscribe to all the shows on our network.
We interrupt our program to bring you this important message.
It's the show that keeps you up to date on the latest security news twice a week. Your trusted source for accurate security information and expert analysis. It's time for the Security Weekly News. Ransomware, supply chain attacks, 0 days, cyber threats don't wait, and neither should your defenses. With ThreatLocker, you're not just reacting to threats, you're stopping them before they start. Our Zero Trust endpoint protection locks down your environment with pinpoint control over what's allowed to run and what's not. No guesswork, no blind spots, just proactive, built-for-now security that keeps your business moving. Want to see how a true default deny strategy works? Head over to securityweekly.com/threatlocker and take the first step towards shutting the door on threats before they even knock. Ever feel like your network infrastructure is stuck in the past? Meet Meter, the company reimagining what it means to get and stay online. Meter delivers full-stack networking, wired, wireless, and cellular, all in one seamless, scalable, and secure solution. From hardware design and firmware to software, deployment, and support, Meter streamlines every part of your network while giving you all the control and transparency you need. Whether you're managing a branch office, retail stores, or a massive data center, Meter gives you performance, reliability, and the visibility you need to stay in control. Thanks to Meter for sponsoring. Go to securityweekly.com/meter to book a demo now. That's securityweekly.com/meter, METER.
Hello, cyber friends and real friends that listen to the show. I know who you are. It's Security Weekly News, episode 527, and it's me, Aaron Leyland, filling in for Dr. Doug, who's on his travels again. Loads of great stories today, and also Jason Wood treating our eyes and ears, and stick around for the last story. It's a game changer. Okay, story one. SonicWall confirms state-sponsored hackers behind September cloud backup breach. So, they've confirmed that it's state-sponsored. I would hope it is. So, basically, if you lose their cloud firewall backups, you kind of got to assume your network map is exposed. So, they accessed cloud-hosted configuration backups in September. And if we look into this, that could or should or would be rule braces, object groups, NATs, VPN definitions, and sometimes embedded service accounts. SonicWall are saying firmware wasn't touched, but if we look at this, there's a real intelligence value here in those backups, as it could be, it would be, is a full map of your trust paths, what services are reachable from where and in what order. It's like, what adversary just wouldn't like that? No need for noisy scans to enumerate stuff. It's just there. They've got it. They say in the article it isn't limited to just single tenants. It says managed service providers often reuse patterns across fleets of firewalls, naming conventions, object reuse, templated NATs, shared portal posture. This is just giving repeatable paths. And if cloud management is enabled, the management plane itself can become a target. From this, attackers learn IP ranges, admin ACLs, portal workflows, and then, as we say, low noise access. It's like just slip in there like the Chinese, right? So SonicWall has released two tools, an online analysis tool to identify affected instances and a credential reset tool. If this affects you, get them downloaded, use them. Look, secrets, design, intent. This could have been cataloged months ago. So don't just like get into a bit of rotation here. You need to think about a big redesign. You need to look at sites exposing SSL VPN or user portals. If you're using split tunnel VPN, review what those clients can reach internally. It's it's pretty bad, to be honest. And going forward, we need to treat configuration backups as tier 0, and that's just everything that owns everything else, right? But have a look at that article. It's in the show notes. If this affects you, get amongst it, right? Next story. NuGet logic bombs built for delay and doubt future database and PLC distribution. So the Saugus team analyzed 9 NuGet packages that were uploaded in 2023 and 24 that this is pretty cool, that had time delayed sabotage involved in them. The authors' packages wrap legitimate database and Sharp 7 PLC, that's your programmable logic controllers, operations using C# extension methods. The wrappers from this story say it adds 2 behaviors. So there's random process kills and silent write failure after a 30 to 90 minute delay. This is all sounding like Iranian Natanz type stuff, isn't it? Date triggers in this are hard coded for August 2027 and November 2028 in several of the packages. I wonder what was going on there or what they were expecting this to be involved in. The ICS facing Sharp 7 extended activities immediately and then ran them through to June 28. It's definitely all sounding like big spinny things underground that speed up and slow down without anybody knowing, or it's definitely sounding like destruction, isn't it? So it says here, when it misbehaves, it's far from initial installation. And I guess that's the point. If we look, this is years down when people have forgot about this code, basically. It says when it does fail, it's made to resemble a flaky app or a plant fault. I wonder who wrote this. It's pretty interesting. So the database variants selectively break transactions, application logs show ordinary exceptions, and then we're told what would happen is an ops team would blame the database or the network. It goes on to talk about in industrial settings, an operator issues a write to a PLC, the call succeeds, but the device state doesn't change. Totally looking like sabotage on client-side code rather than controller firmware. Look, this stuff isn't high download volume malware. This is really targeted stuff. It's patient supply chain work meant to land in a few targets where it counts. So someone's spending a lot of money on this and they have an idea where it's going. What it says is delays and probabilities also defeat simple reproduction. And having long-lived dependencies in ICS is what is giving this the teeth. And it's going on about literally organizations will forget about package choices made years earlier. This so hard to find real specialists. You need to have a real think when you have operational technology with this, that just assume a library can be weaponized years after rollout. And back at the design stage, shift left, you need to design for provable provenance. That's an interesting one. If you're into that stuff, you're a real geek, and I admire you. Super smart. Okay, next story. Curly Comrades enabling Hyper-V to plant an Alpine Linux guest on Windows endpoint. So it's like Russian dolls, isn't it? Hiding something in something. So Bitdefender and CertGE describe an operation that turns Windows 10 workstations. What happened to Windows 10? Why have you still got Windows 10? Just about every government in the world. So Windows 10 workstations into two OS hosts. The actor enables Hyper-V, deploys a small Alpine Windows VM, which apparently is only like 120 megs disk and 256 megs RAM. And that runs operator tools inside the guest. There's a reverse shell, curly shell, and a reverse proxy, curlcat. And then the networking goes through Hyper-V's default switch. So outbound traffic presents as if it were from the host. And from this article, it's saying that host-based EDR often sees the Windows processes and denies anything obviously malicious. The interesting bits live in the guest, where probably most people in most organizations and setups have little or maybe even no visibility, right? They say the tooling around the implant, these are names you're absolutely have heard before, around implant chains include RuRat, Mimikatz, and .NET Loader. The article, it's totally saying that it's consistent with Russian interests in Georgia and Moldovan energy sort of government areas. When we're thinking about it from a defender's point of view, enabling Hyper-V needs admin rights or an existing foothold with elevation. Once enabled, persistence survives common cleanup steps because the guest and its VHDX files are legitimate Hyper-V artifacts in standard paths. Literally, the operator can swap implants inside the guest without touching the host process tree. Totally works because hypervisors on developer machines and power user machines are often tolerated. It's like they're just making it harder and harder. But looking at the image of the disk, the VM can be missed unless responders explicitly look for VHDX under Hyper-V directories. Pulling some essentials out of this, Hyper-V on desktops is a persistence and evasion layer. Guest traffics inherit host trust unless explicitly segmented, and small VMs can be swapped and updated without obvious artifacts. So you really need to look at some actions, which are deny or alert on Hyper-V enablement and new VM creations on non-dev machines. Monitor for small VHDX and Hyper-V paths, and export suspect VHDX for analysis before containment. Wow, it's so technical today. Okay, next up. And this is something that was totally new to me. I was like living in a cave or something. Review extortion on Google Maps now has a formal reporting route. It's like, so Google has introduced a dedicated Maps workflow for reporting review-based extortion. I've never don't review me, don't put me on Google. I was saying I've never been in anything that's ever been reviewed, so maybe I missed this. So what happens is coordinated 1-star floods followed by out-of-band payment demands to remove them. Google highlighted ongoing as well job lure malware, fake AI tool sites, and malicious VPN tools. What it says is before like the distribution relies on trust signals coming from mainstream platforms. It's like if you're involved in this is obviously a really good thing. This totally wouldn't be a marketing nuisance. It's like total real coercion. What I'm told in it after I got out of my cave was that Attackers mass create or rent accounts, hit a target in bursts to damage ratings, and switch to private messengers with payment instructions. They're also saying that every business model, and like these business models are better than most people's business models, right? They're saying that some of the campaigns rotate verticals weekly, bouncing from hospitality to healthcare to retail, and reusing the same reviewer clusters. Um, the new reporting route, so this is good, apparently reduces triage fiction, but you still need to collect reliable evidence and upload it all. But if you're like your business really sort of runs on ratings, and a lot of them do, because who doesn't just check Google now before they go anywhere? You really need to war game this and get legal involved and get security involved and get comms involved and make sure if this does happen that you can get straight on it. It's like it's just crazy stuff. I just the ingenuity of how these criminals can work out like just how to make money. It's like turn it to something good, guys. Okay, next up, not China again. So China nexus intrusion at US policy organization. Not China sort of absolutely influencing US policy and just like the whole of the UK university system, but I don't want to get cancelled. Okay, right. A US policy influencing non-profit was compromised using reliable, well understood techniques. Initial access followed broad scanning against older public facing bugs. So think log4 shell type stuff, legacy struts, go ahead. This was like persistence, use DLL side loading. Um, this was all pretty basic stuff. You can read it all in the article, which is in the show notes. What it does do is a bit of attribution, and I love a bit of attribution. It says it overlaps were observed with clusters historically linked to APT 41, who are known through many names like Space Pirates, and it overlaps apparently with Kelp and or Solve Typhoon. But what we do have is some standalone tradecraft. Side loading against a security vendor, binary leverages, default trust and allow listing. MS build as living off the land loader, and obviously this kind of evades sort of telemetry. What they're saying here in the attribution bit is the likely goal here isn't noisy ransomware, it's long-term access, which most of the time they just throw towards China, but other people do it as well. It's what they say here they're looking for is like talking points and board communications, all value for influence, and it was searching for like drafts before things were even sort of in the final stage. Right. Defenders frequently exempt build tools and place them in non-developer machines for convenience. Well, that's bad. Stop it. What you need to do is treat these hosts as high-value workstations, instrument process creation, module load, and schedule task changes. It's pretty interesting stuff, and probably China and probably the low and slow stuff and collecting. And to be honest, when I see this stuff being released, I'm like, yeah, it's probably older stuff and it's all moved on anyway. Okay, next one. AI tool lures are now a mature distribution channel. Right. In this one, we have Google and incident responders have tracked sustained campaigns using fake AI products, video generators, code helpers, image enhancers to distribute info stealers and backdoors. Look, if it's cheap or it's free or it's too good to be true, well, it probably is. And for years they've been hiding sort of info stealers and malware in free or cheap software, right? What they're saying in this one is the mechanics blend malvertising, SEO poisoning, and Trojanized installers. What they're saying is the targets are really predictable: developers, marketeers, and comm teams who install new tools frequently and bypass procurement. It's like, if you don't have like a procurement sort of a vendor onboarding team, somebody needs to take ownership of that, because it's just like the Wild West out there, isn't it? But what they're saying is this persists in browser profile, and it's survivable at OS level remediation. It also goes into a bit about fleeceware and overpriced subscriptions that have little value, and that's just monetized quickly alongside the theft. Interesting story. There's a bit more in it. Totally, if it's cheaper than you would expect, there's definitely a catch. Okay, next story, and then we'll have Jason. Meta is earning a fortune on a deluge of fraudulent ads, documents show. Not like Meta to be involved in a bit of controversy, is it? Like, today's show is sponsored by Cherry Cola Drink. It's not really. Okay. Meta projected 10% of its 2024 revenue would come from ads for scams and banned goods. And this is in documents that Reuters have seen. So this was an interesting article on Reuters. The social media giant internally estimates that its platforms show users 15 billion. So they have all these metrics, right? 15 billion scam ads a day. And among its responses to suspected road marketeers, charging them for a premium for ads and issuing reports on scammiest scammers. It's like, I don't know. It's like, how do you stop this stuff? Or like, when a company and other companies and some companies who we know are like, do no evil, it's like, why does it always seem like Meta is involved in something controversial? What's it saying? It says, right, on average, 1 December 2024 document notes the company shows its platform users 15 billion higher risk scam adverts, and that those, the main bit here, the extra bit, that shows clear signs of being fraudulent. What the article's saying is Meta earns about 7 billion in annualized revenues from this category of scam ads each year. Crazy, right? Crazy. Meta, do better. Be good. Right, Jason, thank you for waiting. And sorry that I'm so 6s and 7 today, or 6-7 or something like that. Welcome. Good to see you, sir.
Good to be here with you. And yeah, you covered an article that I was eyeballing as well, that Facebook one for Meta. Because I was just, who doesn't know somebody that's been like clicked on something and then been bitten for hundreds or thousands of dollars?
Right. And
I've
been looking for like some battery powered socks recently for snowboarding. Long story. Message me and I'll let you know. But I found these socks and they looked amazing. And something in my head was like, do some due diligence on this, do some due diligence on it. And yeah, I just banged it into Grok and said, find me some stuff on this. And they were like, yeah, it's totally fake. And that was on reputable sites. I think I seen them on Instagram or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah, the ads are all everywhere. The difference, I think, to me is that Meta is the platform, whereas a lot of other sites are just like using a platform, they get them. But nonetheless, a lot of scammy stuff out there. All right, on to a different scam, and AI related, of course. So yesterday, Dark Reading published a feature with the headline, Sora 2 makes videos so believable, reality checks are required. And I was like, reality checks? All right, I'm interested. Because I'm turning into a real curmudgeon and getting very skeptical about a ton of things now. The article is by Ariel Waldman with Dark Reading. She's a regular author there. And she covers the September release of Sora 2 and just how realistic it is. So Sora 2, if you haven't looked at it, is a video and audio generation model that runs on mobile devices. And you can use it it looks like a social media platform. You can use it to connect with friends, share videos that you've created with each other with, generative AI prompts and things like that, and watch videos that other folks have created, presumably that you're not connected with. The UI looked a lot like Instagram to me in a number of ways, but the app and the generative AI model, of course, behind it were created by OpenAI. And, which we know of as and this is a quote from the article, the infamous ChatGPT. And I got a kick out of that. It actually reminds me of Martin Short, for all you graybeards out there, explaining to Steve Martin and Chevy Chase what the word infamous means. And, as Martin Short says, infamous is when you're more than famous. This man, El Guapo, is not just famous. He's infamous. I just thought it was hilarious. Word jokes, definition jokes aside, it's kind of clear the author doesn't seem to be a fan of ChatGPT. And she'll link to an article about some issues that have gone on with ChatGPT in the past. The concern with Sora 2 is that it is able to generate extremely lifelike deepfake videos, and that there aren't enough protections in place to keep it from getting really out of control. So how good are these videos? Well, according to Ben Coleman, CEO of an AI detection company named Reality Defender, he's cited as saying that PhD experts, which I was like, what did that have to do with this, are now unable to spot the difference between reality and a deepfake using only their senses. They have to use, something computational now to see if it's generated by AI. So I looked at that and I went to the Sora 2 website to take a look at this. And they do have a really impressive looking intro video. It's about 2 minutes long. You got Sam Altman in here doing the introduction. And they say that the whole thing is created in Sora 2. And it includes a number of other little videos below with the prompts used to create that video. And these are very short, like 1, maybe 2 lines. And the resulting video came off looking very real. I have to say that the fantasy looking videos were a lot more fun. Like in the big intro video, they had one part where there's duck racing, literally with human jockeys riding these giant ducks around a water track the size of a horse race track, and just spraying water everywhere as these ducks are furiously paddling away. It was kind of amusing and hilarious to watch, though I can't even guess on how much computing power and electrical power that took to, all of this takes to run. So Coleman is quoted as saying that Sora 2 is, and this is in quotes, better in terms of mechanics, how the face and body move, but also perceived emotional intelligence, end quote. So the people in the videos basically don't look like robots. They're acting like real people. You start to add imperfections and other things maybe that make it sound more realistic. So yeah, that's pretty interesting. And while the article is focused on Sora 2, it also mentions Veo, which is Google's video platform, which according to a different person quoted in the article is even better. OpenAI is attempting to implement some guardrails to prevent malicious use. And then the article talks about using things like watermarks in each video to indicate that it's been generated, and other things around that. I went and looked at the App Store for it. I actually read a 1-star review from a user who was complaining that the guardrails were just so restrictive that even just using the word bikini and it results in the prompt being rejected for sexual content. So, we got on one side saying it's not restrictive enough, and then the users complain on the other side. Probably fairly typical. The article also quoted or received responses from a gentleman named SWN Sugavanan. Sorry if I butchered your name there. The VP of AI and Identity Analytics for another identity verification platform. Both executives are basically taking the position that OpenAI's defenses are not enough, which I will then note that both of these companies do have a vested interest in pointing out the problems that these platforms create, and would probably move on to tell you how their platform helps, or their surface helps with that. Even as I say that, though, that doesn't mean that there aren't serious issues posed by generative AI, particularly for video and audio. For example, the article they cite concerns around lawyers and judges trying to decide whether or not the video they are watching is real or not. I saw some YouTube videos where they were talking about the crash of the UPS freight airplane this week, and they were looking at some of the images that were initially being published. And the pilots who were doing their analysis were wondering, is this real, or is this something that somebody has created? So, yeah, it's definitely out there, a concern to folks. Judges and lawyers, that's very impactful. Somebody's life could be on the line here, their reputation, everything destroyed because of a fake video. They also talk about, consumers maybe talking to a health professional on some kind of telehealth session. The problem is they're talking to a medical professional who doesn't exist, just generated by a computer. And onto that, I would add, you also have medical professionals who don't know if they're talking to a real person who's asking for some kind of medication. And it goes on from there. I mean, we've got other areas where this could be really impactful for the bad guys. So we've got companies and security professionals that are dealing with problems with around accidentally hiring North Korean IT workers, which is against international sanctions. And this is happening at a fairly large scale, and it adds up to some significant money for the North Korean government. It also results in some data being copied out to places that they'd probably rather not have it go to. I've talked with folks that are dealing with this stuff. And one of my friends, for example, his whole job is focused on this, and says anytime his employer posts a job posting, they get hit with a number of applications that are coming from these IT workers from North Korea. So, right now you've got a real person in the interview trying to respond and get the job. But, picture turning this around, how much faster and bigger reach they can get if they can do this with generative AI, responding in real time to questions being asked and stuff like that. Really can expand their reach, because now you don't need people who understand English and are technically competent to be able to pass the interview. We can just have the computer handle that for them. Obviously, the article calls for additional regulation to protect against this sort of stuff. The problem is governments can't move fast enough, as fast as the technology involves. And let's face it, my government can't even pass a budget right now. So I'm surprised that they're able to decide on what time a session should occur or when to show up, much less something like this. The folks quoted in the article proposed a number of checks, such as likeness checks and checking the device location for a person, which I don't know about y'all, but that could be a problem for me if I was using this, because I do travel. So I pop up in different locations, even though most of the time I'm at home. They also talked, one that I thought was interesting was checking the background to see if the same background is being used by multiple identities, indicating you got one person generating this stuff. The issues aren't limited to the ones we've talked about here. Here on this show, we've covered stories where AI was suspected to be used to help extort money from victims, from somebody else saying that they kidnapped a loved one, and the victim is hearing the voice of their child, supposedly, on the other side, tearfully telling their mom about what's happening to them. You've also got things like revenge porn, the ideas go on and on. To Aaron's point earlier about how clever these folks are and how focused they are on trying to illicitly get money. Yeah, I mean, the more this technology enables people to do things, they just keep looking for, and how we use it, they just keep looking for opportunities to abuse that and come up with some new way to make money off of it. We've like said, we probably all know somebody that's been hit by various types of scans. Now imagine that being enabled by super realistic video. Now, as I said, the article is focused on Sora 2, but it isn't limited to this application, nor is it limited to regulations in any one government. Regulations in one country or even most countries isn't going to stop platforms and stuff like that from hopping over to other countries where this type of activity is allowed. Now, I don't mean to say that there's no point in doing anything. We obviously need to respond. It's just a really difficult problem. The major tech platforms, they're going to have billions of users. If they restrict how their platforms can be used, then it does limit the damage that can occur to some extent. It just won't stop it. And as for the victims who are impacted, it really doesn't help them if most folks are covered and protected from this. The damage still hits them. Actually makes me start to think, okay, what can we do on the recovery side, which then starts to sound as difficult as preventing the malicious use of things like generative AI. The technology is definitely cool, but it's also really creating new problems. And I don't know if we can handle them really that well as individuals and communities. We're just hardwired for things visual when we're talking to somebody we think we know and stuff like that. And it looks like them and it sounds like them and it may not be them at all. So coming soon to you soon is your, some family member telling you that something's going on and some new scam around that. And you're looking and talking to them and it's not them. So have a look at the article. Definitely, definitely one of these problems we're going to be dealing with for years now. And with that, Aaron, we'll send it back over to you to take us out.
Brilliant. Thank you, Jason. And I agree with everything you said there. And some of the things that you're seeing now is you put a picture of someone up and then you can talk through it real time. And just think of all the social engineering angles here, and none less than your CEO phoning up the service desk on a video call and going, unlock my password now. I need to go into a meeting. And as you said, the whole revenge porn angle, where it's like revenge porn, but it's just made up and it's not even real. It just absolutely beggars belief. And
yeah,
I guess we're going to have like fact checking things, or maybe we'll have to attach NFTs to real photos. Look, somebody might actually find something good to do with NFTs one day.
We have a use case potentially.
Yeah. There's plenty of good use cases. It's just not what people use them for. Instead, they'd rather just have a picture that doesn't exist really. But anyway, don't get me started on NFTs. It's like I'll go off on one all day. And anybody that lost lots of money on NFTs, I don't feel sorry for you. I don't. Sorry. Okay, right. Thank you, Jason. We truly missed you and love having you on the show. And just come lots, okay? Right. Finally, total banger in the cyber community. Comments all over LinkedIn and other hellholes like that. Oh, I hate LinkedIn so much. I wish I didn't have a use for it. Okay. Google uncovers prompt flux malware that uses Gemini AI to rewrite its code hourly. And not just that one, there's another one as well, which basically means we should all just post our passwords on the internet and go home. And in the UK, it's 1743 now. And it is time to go home from work, but I don't think I'll post my passwords just yet. Okay, right. Let's cut through the FUD Google's threat intelligence group says 2 malware families are now using large language models during execution, not just for the build. The names that you're going to hear for the next week or 10 are Prompt Flux and Prompt Steal. This is so Google's saying the first time that they've seen LLM driven behavior in real operations. So that matters. It's moving it from theory to practice. Seen in the wild, guys. Okay, facts as we know them today. Prompt Flux is a VB script that calls Gemini at runtime with a hard-coded API key. There's a thinking robot routine that asks for a model for fresh obfuscation. And for the new people, that's literally where you change the shape of things so it looks different. So people writing signatures for malware detection, well, you change one bit and the hash, which is the signature, is different, and then you maybe don't detect it, at least in signature based. But hey, we all like heuristics now anyway. Okay, it has some persistence. One variant even tried to rewrite itself hourly. If you look into this and you look at the link on the show notes, it'll give you some ways to look for this. There's another one, Prompt Steal, which is a different beast. It's a Python data miner that prompts an open source model, which is QWEN 2.5 coder 32B instruct. And this comes via the Hugging Face API, and it generates one-liners for collection in exfil. Weirdly, they're tying this usage to APT28 in Ukraine. And if it is them, I wonder who they're using it against. Oh, well, go get them, Ukraine. Okay, right. The prompt's asking the model to craft command strings to sweep system info and copy document trees before expo. All looking very operational. What people are saying, they're saying first known case of AI-powered malware observed in the wild, and with both families changing behavior mid-attack, which is very, very exciting. They are saying that this all looks very early stage and a bit sort of just figuring it out and putting it together, but it's out there and it's in the wild. And I totally fell in a hole with this today, and I wrote absolutely loads on it, but we're absolutely pushing into show is way too long. So I'm going to rewind on that. And what I will say, this is early. It has real use. It's not magic. What is genuinely new is the just-in-time code mutation, and then prompt task collection, and also guardrail evasion patterns. So it is interesting. There is capability and capacity. The capability's here. Apparently it can't be scaled yet. And what it does say is that it's here now. It's going to accelerate. These are the ones that we can see. So there will be other better ones. So you probably have to update your skills now on how you or your telemetry is going to find this. Okay, right. The sky isn't falling. It is a meaningful change. LLMs inside the kill chain. You will see headlines about autonomous attacks live now. Maybe not yet. It is early. It's not ignorable. Okay, you can sleep this weekend, but you should probably brush up on this and learn some. Okay, thank you, Jason. Thank you, production. Everything is definitely 6 and 7 today. And that's it for episode 527 of Security Weekly News. Until next time, Aaron Leyland and Jason Wood saying peace out.